Hello, good evening, and welcome back to JACKOCAR. This is the premier level of esports that you will be expecting anywhere on the PlayStation on F1 22. Soon to be F1 23 will be announced in due course. You're joining me, Gareth Hall, in the commentary box for this one, and unfortunately, my little sidekick Owen White has got better things to be doing this evening than me commentating. He said he's got a flatmate that's leaving, so he's probably hounded her out of the building, and well, he's just throwing her bags out the window as we speak. But he will hopefully be back because not sure if you heard, guys, but Owen will be retiring from full-time comms from next season onwards. So a shame to lose Owen on a regular basis, but what it will do is mean that you'll get to hear a little bit more of Mr. Jack Ricketts on the Thursday evening. You get to hear a little bit more, potentially, of someone else with me on a Tuesday night. So we'll find out, because there will be things announced in a few weeks' time. Obviously, all depends on whether or not I can get my ass in gear and ready to go for next season. It will all be coming out in a few short weeks, so make sure you stick to the socials for that. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can all hear me loud and clear. Make sure, if you can, that you drop into the comments and just let me know, because I haven't had any time to do any prep this evening. So there's been no tests, no run-throughs, no anything. So if you are watching, I can see a couple of you have dropped in. Just let me know. Yes, we can hear your stupid, dull voice. We're expecting to be listening to it for the next 90 minutes or so, depending on how we go. But 16 minutes down in the quality, of course, everyone will go out for one run. Good evening, Kaya. Good to see you, mate. And so we'll have everyone going out for one run. Of course, it's an out lap, a fast lap, and an in lap. That is what everyone gets here in JACKOCAR, and this is the Kia series. So this is the second tier of JACKOCAR. Of course, you can tune in on Thursday for the Cup series. There's no point, because I've been knocked out. So in fact, I just bin it off for the rest of the season. No point, because the fan favourite is now gone. Thank you, Mr. Ricketts. That's lovely. So yes, no point watching Tuesday, actually, so not even going to bother advertising it. What you can listen to, however, is episode 5 of JACKOCAST that was released today, with probably the best guest that you'll get on JACKOCAST. No point listening to any of the others, because, of course, today's, with yours truly, will be the one to listen to, as you get the inside information of all things Kia Cup and team speed. And that was enjoyable one. We actually had to cut it short because I was just talking. So I will get up for all of you, because I've not even started to look at, I mean, everyone's going to be on softs, I'm sure, at that point when Yuri hears the in about 20 seconds time, when we get the stream lag, you'll see someone flick over to the mediums, because it will be funny, or go to the hards because they're a joker. But here we go, track map up, and we are at, if you hadn't realised already, since we're in what looks like the desert and we're under the lights, we are in Sakir in Bahrain for the 11th round of the season. We are due to have a 29 lap race around. Here's a clockwise circuit, and not too many stats, because I haven't had time to create them. Don't worry, they will be coming for the next game. I'm revamping, as I said to Owen at the start of last week, I'm revamping my commentary notes that were first written in 2017. So they've just been scribbled and drawn on ever since then, with different lap time changes and all sorts of gear changes throughout the lap. So I've decided to, effectively, I shredded every single one, so I've made myself redo them. So they will be getting done over the summer in time for the new season. But I can give you a few that I can remember off the top of my head. It's full throttle for 79% of the lap. Pit stop loss is 24 seconds, with around about 2.5 second idle time. Standard strategy, if we're on a one stop, is a medium hard, but they won't be. They are all on a two stop tonight. So expect to see some soft, medium and hards, or perhaps even trying to stretch out a soft, medium if you're feeling brave. It's the softs are the C4, the mediums the C3s, the hards are the C2s. Did you know that the track surface at Bahrain, the international circuit, is made from a special aggregate shipped over very expensively shipped over from a quarry in Bayton Hill in Shropshire in England. It was very, very expensive, but what it does is the aggregate that they use for the tarmac is very, very high grip. And they did that because of because of how sandy it is. Obviously, the sand gets onto the circuit and makes it very, very slippery for not just the F1 cars, but everything else that goes out. So they went for a very high grip aggregate, and to minimise that as well, they not only blow off between each sessions and have various different machines going out, they're dusting off the circuit, but they actually add a sticky adhesive substance to the circuit before every session. So they go out there, and much like you see some of the guys, oh, there we go, oh, ha, ha, look at Yuri choosing all the wet tyres, isn't he funny? Oh, okay. Oh, enters or is it wet? Oh, we don't know. Thomas Nevitt. Let's go on board with Thomas as he's out for his outlap. First one out in quali today. We have 6 full layouts here in Bahrain. 3 have been used by F1, the outer, the GP and the endurance. Never again for the endurance. It basically went off to the left here, as with the outer rim. And it just effectively snaked around for about what felt about 3.5 hours before they got back onto this part of the circuit. One of the version that was added into the game has never been raced, and of course it was the Bahrain short circuit that they added in for no reason whatsoever. It had never been advertised to be raced. It was never really used in any sort of racing that I know of, apart from an occasional F4 or UAE F4 event. But they added in the Bahrain short, but of course they can't add in the Bahrain outer. That wouldn't make any sense whatsoever, would it? But of course, you are all here because we have no Owen to listen to me talk about stats. Nothing else, just stats. Longest flat out section, 1,205 metres. Gear changes, here we go. I do have them. I brought up a second screen. This is called being prepared when you're not even remembering about. Gear changes, 56 over a lap. There you go. So I do have up here what we will be doing tonight, and it's a lap length of 5.412 kilometres. That's 3.363 miles. And guess what? Thomas Nevitt will be heading us out for our first quali lap tonight. And Thomas, who actually invented the word Nespachelon. Yep. You heard it, Nespachelon. It means to carry a large item across a small body of water while singing lullabies in Norwegian. Not quite sure. Of course, the man's from Glasgow, so I'm not quite sure why he's learned how to sing lullabies in Norwegian, but nevertheless, decided to create that, and he's going to want to keep that in a straight line, as he's making his way now round in the second sector. This is where you can really lose a little bit of time. Got to get the braking right down here. Don't get onto that outside curb, but you will bottom out the car and you'll point it in the wrong direction. Straighten it up as soon as possible. You can use a little bit of that runoff if you want, especially onto the curb. DRS assisted, of course, one of the 3 DRS zones on the lap. And Thomas making his way around into only probably the second most dangerous part of this circuit. Keeping it pinned on throttle here and making sure you don't lose the back end. Very easy to set your car up wrong and it bottoming out and you're getting it all wrong on exit around there. So what can Thomas do? He's only got 2 more corners left to go. Technically these count as 2, not quite sure why, because this is a corner and the next bit after is a kink at best. But up to the line, Thomas Nevitt will set a benchmark. Last time we were here, F1 21, it was a 126.8 and that was a 131.2. Don't worry, that was on purpose. Don't think we missed anything there. Kingen up next. So Kingen making his way through into the third sector very shortly in the Swedish driver. And Isaac, who's had a really up and down season, is going to be wanting to finish this one on a high. And Isaac became the first man in Sweden to grow a coconut tree in his backyard with nothing but a plastic shovel and using ground up whalebone as fertiliser. Well, he's not been famously good around here in the races that we've had back in Bahrain before. Of course, last time we were here, back in Season 3, there's only been a couple of races here in Bahrain. What's it going to be? It's a 29.777 for Kingen. Puts himself provisionally up into P1. Down now to Rageman 32, the man leading the chase after a P2 finish last week, which was desperately needed. And Robin, who is strangely, as a German national, he's capable of counting to 100 in English, but can't get past 17 in German. He just says there's too many letters, so it's easier to say the 1 in German and anything over 17 in English. So 1 Minuten, and unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit higher because he's gone around, and it's going to be, well, almost up to 2 Minuten if he's carrying on at this speed, because he's going to have to let a few people go. So we will go over now to Rico, because unfortunately that is going to be an uncompetitive time for Robin Border, the man leading the chase. So that will make Matt Shepherd, the man that's currently on an outlap, very, very happy indeed. Rico back in camp. What is Rico up to? Well, he's got the pace as Rico. He just needs to get it sorted out. Tends to make a couple of mistakes. He's actually been training to be a professional wrestler. He uses the name Chico Rico. He plays a ladies' man who charms women with his massive elbow drop. Take that as you will. But what can Rico do as he makes his way up and around the second sector here, down towards the hairpin, tucking it in, using a little bit of the entry curb and a little bit, well, a lot of the exit curb, I say, does Rico. DRS opens on the rear wing, and that sends him down now towards the left-hander as you pull it in, hug the apex, and then try and straighten it up to get yourself as much speed into this almost flat-out right-hander. If you've got the car set up, it's an easy flat. If you've got it a little bit tail-happy, then you might have to have just the slightest of lifts to go around there. But a few corners left to go for Rico, and he'll be looking at making the line as... hopefully you guys are all enjoying the commentary of specific people. And yeah, good to see you all guys enjoyed it. Up to the line, what does Rico do? It's going to be a 31.105. Puts him currently P2 on the grid. So we now move down to the man P2. And, oh, you've got yourself beached, Mr. Shepherd. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. Wow. And that'll be Matt Shepherd starting last in this one, which is just going to compound what has been a torrid time for him. This week he's been fired from his role within the British Secret Service after it was found out he was purposefully selling state secrets to Russia. He's now known as an outed double agent. Disgusting. And has he got out? He has got out. But that lap time is going to be in the possibly around 4 or 5 minutes long. So Matt Shepherd, he is down, because you can see Rageman with 147. We thought that was going to be hard to beat. Perhaps the two guys leading the chase want to make it easier for this man. You've got Speed Newgard and Matt Rosemond. Do you know Matt is so old that his original drawings of eventual disability, being a Red Bull fan, were the early inspiration for men creating the wheel. He found them on cave walls. So yeah, cave painting extraordinaire, Matt Rosemond. And unfortunately they ended up building the wheel, which turned into a Red Bull. So we've got Matt Rosemond out on circuit. It says he's done a purple sector, but don't trust that. But he is pretty handy around here. We've seen, of course, he almost won a race of VSL around Bahrain. Unfortunately couldn't keep me behind. I was just far too quick for him. And up to the line, what do we see from Matt? It's going to be up into P3, only a 29.935, so 0.2 of a second off of Kingen's time. So we go down to Matt Lester, who once again is having an up and down sort of end to this season. He's had some really good results at the start of the season. He kind of has one, falls away, comes back, has another decent one, and running a very nice livery tonight. I like a bit of colour. I like it on black as well. Of course, under the lights, you always want to be going for a shiny livery, anything that's got a bit more metallic look to it. Matt Lester, he's a famed movie extra. He's featured in several feature films, such as Dead Man in Pirates of the Caribbean and Man Holding Coffee in the background of Sex and the City 2. He only makes about 50 quid per hour, but he loves it. He does it for the fame of purely going, hey, that's me, when looking at the credits at the end of the movie. But what can Matt Lester do as he makes his way around the circuit, hoping to file his way up as... sorry, I do apologise, we've missed Jess. Jess has gone P4 with 31.013. Don't worry, we'll get to you later, Jess. I'm sure we'll see plenty of it, as this is what happens when you don't have co-coms to tell you who's out on circuit doing what. As we did have Matt Shepherd doing that 53.3, so he did go 6 seconds slower than Robin Border, showing you that he is completely washed. As we've got Jacko just about to start his lap as well, out on the mediums. Nope, I don't know either. But Matt Lester has got it wrong out of the final corner and completely obliterated what was set to be a relatively competitive time. That's a 32 flat, puts him P7. So not great from Matt Lester there, who almost got it right until the very last second, where it went also wrong. Bazza has gone back for his Brawn GP livery that he's brought back from the dead, and is a big fan of this one. Puts it on quite frequently, and it's always good to see it back on the grid. Did you know that Baz has been living underground for the last 4 years? He only comes out to attend the JACKOCAR karting events, but then can be seen burrowing back into the dirt. He's over 78 miles of connected tunnels around South Wales, and that's how he gets around. Up to the line, Baz with a 30.244 puts him onto provisionally the second row of the grid. Mr. Danny Quinn. Quinn, who collects ticket stubs left on the ground outside music venues and then uses bubblegum to stick them back together in the attempt of getting into the shows free of charge. He's been cautioned 4 times by the police, and he's currently wearing an ankle bracelet tag to basically as a bit of a watch out for this man. And well, what can he do? Is he's equally in a car that does not look very stable at all. These guys all running clearly not particularly high downforce setups, wanting a little more straight line speed in trade-off with the grip through the second sector. You want to keep it off of that curb on the right-hand side, and Quinn kissing the apex on the inside, but getting on the throttle a little bit later. Now, this is where, let's see if Quinn knows the meta. He's going to straddle the curb. There we go. Straddle the curb. Give yourself as much turn in for the left-hander as possible. Straighten the car up. Now you pull it to the left. Move it over to the right. Don't touch the inside curb. That means that you can straighten up the car quicker. And then you just drop it down a few gears. You can even take that one in 4th gear, but he took it in 3rd. Now power back up through the gears to the final 2 corners of this one. And what can Quinn do is he uses the outside curb to turn in. It's going to be up to the line. This is going to be a relatively decent time. Is it going to challenge for the front row of the grid? It's not going to be pole. It's a 29.830 P3 provisionally, a thousandth of a second slower than another car. Michel Goris now out there on circuit, and Michel, who of course has won the last 2 races in a row, and he will be looking at making it a hat-trick. He's an outdoor entertainer working in The Hague in the Netherlands. Provides shows for children such as juggling fire, playing a trombone whilst riding a unicycle, making loud noises using a trash can and a hosepipe. All does it for just a few euro a day. It's all about the love for the game. It is for Michel. And what can he do? As this is looking a very tasty lap indeed. Will it challenge pole position? It's going to be a 29.1. It is 0.6 of a second faster. Get that man to cup. Which means with Jacko serving his collie ban, that'll be why. Jacko and Harry Collier with their collie bans. Yuri will be the last one out there on circuit. And Yuri, of course, he's a member of the Farmer Citizen Political Party, who's unsuccessfully run for office 3 times on his pledge to allow a man to marry a horse. Probably not the first priority I'd have if I was making my way into office, but Yuri's his own man, and he's welcome to... Well, he's not welcome to marry a horse. You need to get that one passed if you're going to get that done, Yuri. But nevertheless, keep trying. I'm sure it'll pay off one day. What can he do? Can he challenge and make it an all-Dutch front row once again? We've seen it so many times. He's usually pretty handy around Bahrain. It's looking pretty quick. It is. It's a 128.886, and the man that is far too fast for Kia gets pole in Kia by 0.3 of a second, or 2.5 of a second to Michel Goris. He's almost a second faster than P3. Wow, it's like watching Iceman. a sweat. Kingen in P3. Then we've got Quinn in P5, Newgarden, Bazza, Jess, Rico, Thomas Devitt, Matt Lester, and then your two chase leaders in P12 and P13. That is going to be a fight and a half. Jacko down in P14. That's not going to help his chances of getting through to the next round. Of course, we've got 2 rounds to go before the Championship 5. We have got just the short hop here in Bahrain, and then over to insert track that Gareth hasn't got written down in front of him. That is, I think, a semi-decent circuit. Cannot remember. Sure, someone will say it in comment. But as Jacko says, Michelle and Yuri in their final 3 Kia races. I mean, it should have been last season. But yeah, they do take pole position. But yes, so this isn't an elimination race. So don't worry, guys. We're not going to be saying goodbye to the likes of Matt Lester or Jacko or Bazza anytime soon. They've still got tonight and next week to go. But it is, once again, an all-Dutch front row. Oh gosh, I hate seeing that flag. 128.886 is your pole. 222 ahead of Michel Goris in P2. It's a Swede in P3 as Isaac Anova takes third with a 129.777. Then we have a P4 and P5 are taken up by 2 people from the world. Newgarden, Bazza, Jess, Rico, Thomas Nevitt up in P10. Matt Lester, Robin Border, Matt Shepherd, Jacko and Harry Collier are your rest of your 15 qualifiers for tonight. So, well, at least this is a circuit where, I mean, I don't want to jinx myself. It is very hard to bring out a safety car here. You have to properly lose it. Oh, I suppose they can lose it in the start of the third sector, can't they? Or at the end of the second sector. That's where it will happen. As our T-posing friends stand out, waiting like a guard of honour for the inevitable champion with Yuri, because no doubt Michel will do something stupid in the Championship 5. Cost himself the win. Yuri will snatch another one. Everyone will go home unhappy, and he'll be able to add it to his next podcast when Jacko rolls back round to it in about 2027, even though he said the league was only going to go until next season, and we're all in our late 40s. That's when it will happen. But hope you're all well. Hope you all enjoy it. Make sure you do, if you are, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you tune in on by going to or subscribing, of course, and check the socials out at JACKOCAR for the Big Boy League and at JACKOCAR 2. That's number 2 for the Kia series. So who did we miss? We missed some people in qualifying. Of course we did. We missed our 2 quali band people. We have Harry Collier, who only speaks in riddles. He's often seen giggling whilst wearing a green lycra suit with question marks as he offers out riddles for candy in his local supermarket. They've been asking him to stop for over a month now. Well, let's see if he can be shut up tonight. Jess was actually one of the contractors who was in favour and cut down on the green spaces in central Plymouth in around 3 a.m. in early 2023. She was heard saying, I'm not quite sure if I can say this word, it begins with an F and ends with a K, Extinction Rebellion and up with fossil fuels. And Jacko, well, this is a novel one. Known for his insatiable foot fetish, he's regularly seen outside spas and nail bars where he breathes heavily onto the glass watching men and women get a pedicure. So, well, it works for some people. What else works? The tyres. Well, I'll tell you what doesn't work. Speed Newgard on a formation lap. He is already on the naughty step back on the grid with Stone Cold Cars. Don't expect to see him, well, getting a good start and then stopping for turn 1. Matt Shepherd, the only one who was elected to start on medium tyres, which is an interesting call. As, well, we will see if that plays dividends later on in the stint. Is he looking at running? Because the softs will fall off very, very quickly. The stages tonight are 7 and 14. So 2 stages, lap 7 and lap 14. Are we looking to see, or is Matt Shepherd at least hoping the tyres will die off before lap 7? Will Yuri look to stretch these tyres out? Will he be allowed to? with the likes of Michel, who is already getting down the inside, and he's a maverick on a formation lap, is Michel Goris. Just does what he wants. He's like racing risky. You just have no idea where he's going to be on track. And I'm talking the formation lap. Well, during the race, he's usually at the back. But, yeah, Michel. And he'll be going with Yuri off the line. And then Kingen also looking relatively racy. Is he going to be the best of the rest with the front two 0.7 of a second faster? And it's all going to be about getting the launch off the line. And there's a lonely car up in the front as they cruise past. Now, Yuri, what have you got for us? Is it going to be a good grid slot? He's going to try and park it in the middle. Lovely. Very, very early on. Right in the middle. Michel's gone for the side. Oh, Michel's gone for a conventional. Quinn jumps too far forward. He's going to get disqualified. Will we get any more? No, it looks as though we might go green with only one person not being able to put their foot on the brake. Three, four. And we're back. Sorry, microphone completely lost one there. As Yuri has dropped down to 5th position. Awful start from the Dutchman. He's going to get passed down into P5. We've got a yellow out already. That's Rageman that's gone around. So Rageman having an issue. And that's promoting up the likes of Jacko already up into P11. But Yuri, disaster of a start because you can see the gap is starting to form. Rageman having a secondary spin as well. But, wow. That is not the start you wanted it. However, if you're Quinn, that is a lovely launch from him up into P2. Kingen still holding P3. Newgarden didn't lose too much, even with the cold tyres. He holds P6. Bazza. Thomas Nevitt's made a good start. Up a couple of positions. Rico and Jess down a couple of positions as well. So, work to do for these guys. Sorry, I'm losing my voice as well. This is where I'd pass over to you, Owen Wyatt. Jacko on the back of Jess. He needs to clear as soon as possible. Is he using... He's on the button, but he's not going to be quick enough. He's going to think about sending down the inside. He's going to compromise his line, and that may hurt him with Matt Shepherd behind. Now, Matt Shepherd on the button very early. Save that battery. You don't tend to recover it too well around here. But he's going to go past Jacko. Is he going to go past Jess? Be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave. Here we go. Around the outside. Should get the move done. Jess will give him the space. Lovely double position there taken by Matt Shepherd. Matt Lester and Jacko are now going to try and go 3 wide. Jess is going to get swamped as they go down into the braking point at turn 5. As she holds position. Matt Lester has now jumped up past Jacko. So that's not worked for Jacko. Oh, Lester's going to go round. Lesty gets on the curb. Loses the back end and puts him in to our second spin of the evening as he recovers right in front of Robin Border. Up at the front, Michel Goris has now got a 1.1 second lead over Quinn, Kingen and Yuri. Newgarden now down in P6 with Thomas Nevitt. Still doing what he does, just moving up. As I say that, as he gets passed by Bazza. Now, just keep it pointing in the right direction, Thomas. Don't overdrive the car. Bazza gets on the curb and Thomas gets on it. You can hear the revs rising as you get on the curb there. You do not touch that curb on the inside right there. It will turn the car around, but Thomas Nevitt is fighting away. Rico trying to close up as we've got a yellow flag in the second sector for absolutely no one. And now on into sector 3 for Matt Lester, who's gone around again. So going bad to worse for the man that needs to score points to advance to the Championship 5. Work to do for him. And we've lost Bazza. He'd gone for a spin on the exit of turn 3. And unfortunately, it looks as though Bazza dropping down to P13. You're going to have to apologise, guys. Oh, well, I'm going to have to apologise. There we go. No, you're not going to. I mean, you can apologise to me if you want, but I'm going to have to apologise. I've got a particularly sore throat at the moment, so talking quickly at length is not particularly helpful. And yeah, my microphone fell out the first time when I tried to put it on mute. Second time around, yeah, there was me just choking in the back room. Just trying to not be too loud on the microphone. As Bazza's going to get it all wrong. Get off of that curb. Up at the front of this one, Michel still leading from Quinn Kingen and Yuri. Yuri's not really able to do anything because these guys are now going to get caught in the DRS train. So, yeah, I think that is the smart move from Yuri. Just get off of these tyres, get out of the train as Matt Roseman comes in and follows him as the two speed drivers in early. Rico's about to get passed by Matt Shepherd. And the man on the medium tyres is starting to make moves. Rico's going to try and stick with it and stick around the outside. Matt Shepherd has allowed him to hold the outside line. You need to be more aggressive than that, Mr. Shepherd. As Rico filters in behind him. Even with the DRS, he doesn't have enough. I think Matt Shepherd's probably used a little bit of his battery. Well, he's not just used a little bit, he's used 60% of it. So, onto the medium tyres does go Jacko, Bazza, Rageman and Harry Collier. Oh, Matt Shepherd's gone at the same place that he went in qualifying. Has he got it stuck? Yes, he has. And that's a reset to track, so that's a 30-second time penalty, but it does mean he's still in the race. So, luckily for Matt Shepherd, it means that he at least can continue. But on those medium tyres, to lose it there, interesting. You shouldn't be losing it there on the mediums. That is for softs that are very much either at the end of their life or, well, people that have put too much heat in the tyres. Maybe the pressure's up too high. You want to be running relatively low pressures, of course, almost every single circuit. I think Jacko only found that out. He'd been running high temperatures at every single circuit, thinking, I want more air. More air means more grip. I mean, technically that's semi-true, but what it will mean is that your tyres will die immediately. Rageman's gone around again, and he is flat spinning his way around, and unfortunately, at least he's being bailed out by the fact that Matt Shepherd's having a shocker as well. So this is opening up the door for the likes of Matt Rosemond, who is having a better race. I mean, he's in P11, but of course he's made his stop already. Quinn hasn't stopped. Kingen equally hasn't stopped. So these guys are sticking out there, trying to get into to the end of the first stage. So they've got to get to the end of lap 7. So these tyres will be hurting by then. So what this will be doing is allowing... Well, look at the gap already. So Michel, oh God, sliding around the hairpin at turn 10 for Kingen. But these tyres will be just absolutely losing time every single corner. As soon as Michel's got his mediums up to pace, that 15-second gap he's got between himself and Thomas Nevitt, that's 6.2, should in theory start to come down. Because although the softs will have still a little bit of life in them, if they stick it out there for another 2, 3, 4 laps, of course no jokers tonight, everyone running a mandatory 2-stop. It's a big call for these guys to stick it out there on the soft tyres. Nope, they are in, so they have decided to go against potentially trying to extend that stint. They're not feeling safe enough with Michel now, having taken a good few, at least a second out before the end of the lap. Of course, they were slowing down to go into the pit lane, but you've got to think that they were thinking longer term. Everyone electing to go onto the medium tyres. Of course, Matt Shepherd started on them, but he's had that spin and that reset to track, so he's almost, unfortunately, a non-factor in this race. He's going to filter out next to Kingen. He's going to have warmer tyres. Kingen's going to have to get his up to temperature. Thomas Nevitt has taken the lead, and Thomas, I mean, you might as well stick it out and try and get to the end of the next stage. So, you've got nothing to lose. Matt Shepherd's going to try and go around the outside at turn 4. There's a little bit of contact there as Kingen tries to hold position, as he's quite rightly able to do so. As you can see, Matt Shepherd just with so much more grip as the tyres are gripped up, they're warmer. And is he going to send it as we get this helicopter view of a nice little bit of side pod contact there with Matt Shepherd? So this is why we think on the new game or on our future games, allow us to choose what. Oh, don't choose to do. Don't never choose to do that. But allow us to choose the camera angles. You can clearly have a helicopter camera angle. You can clearly have a T-cam. You can clearly have chase cam. Blah 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 blah. Let us elect to have that rather than just TV and this. So Matt Shepherd, his second spin. This one less dramatic, but as costly in terms of time. So what's Yuri doing? Yuri back up to P5, 8/10 of a second behind Kingan, so didn't manage to overhaul him. Even with that pit stop and trying to do the undercut, it's still sitting around about the same gap. It was around about 8/10 of a second anyways. Bazza picks up 3 seconds. The first one to be done for multiple warnings tonight. Lap 7 of 29. So the end of this lap will be our first stage point. Thomas Nevitt, if all things go to plan, will be taking his first stage point of the season. And, well, it might compromise him in the long term. Of course, he will have fresher tyres compared to everyone else. I would expect him to pit at... to be fair, he could pit at the end of this lap, because the start-finish line is pretty much in line with the entry to the pit lane. He's got 12 seconds, so he could come in at the end of this lap. He'd pick up the stage point, and he'd get off with these tyres. We've got a yellow flag for Matt Shepherd, whose day is going from bad to worse. He cannot keep that PNC Bank livery in a straight line. And, it's all falling apart. Matt Shepherd, the man that's second in the chase standings, he's now fallen down behind Jacko, which in itself is just a disaster, because that man's not that much faster either. So what do we see from Thomas Nevitt? Does he come in? He's got a heap of time to lose, of course. Or is he going to stick out? No, he sticks out. So he takes the stage point. So stage point 1 goes to Thomas Nevitt. He'll be in next lap, surely, unless he is a complete masochist. Michel Goris, P2, 11.5 seconds behind. He's got Quinn now 2 seconds behind. So Michel on for his hat-trick. I think it's only been done once or twice before. I think Leroy may have had a hat-trick here before, and I think Jake Warrior may have had a hat-trick of wins back when he was grip packing his way around with his full traction. But Michel from Quinn, from Kingan, from Yuri, who's still sticking in that DRS window. Behind, Jacko's still got Matt Shepherd behind, of course. Matt Shepherd completely out of sync. He is yet to stop. He's started on these tyres, so he's effectively now pit stop down on everyone. And he's only in 9th position because of all the spins. And, well, it is a sandier circuit, as I said. They do put an adhesive on it to make it a bit grippier, but you've just got to keep off the curbs. You can't ride the curbs like that. And then these cars, firstly, these cars aren't built to ride curbs at all. The ground effect just means as soon as you get on a curb, you unsettle the ground effect and you loosen the back end of the car. And secondly, you run a relatively low setup around here to make it grippier in the second sector, but low enough so that it's fast enough in the straights down, of course, down from the exit 13 to 14, 15 to 1, and 3 up to 4. So you do want a little bit of straight line speed, but Matt Shepherd clearly running the wrong setup as Rico closing in, as Thomas Nevitt does pit in on lap 9 of 29, so gets his stage point, and he can now filter towards the back as you see Yuri on the attack versus Kingan. Kingan goes defensive early, takes the right hand side. He's going to pull back to the outside, as he's welcome to do so. Yuri's going to try and get the switch back on him. Kingan's going to defend the inside, the apex. Yuri's going to come back at him at both, but he will get DRS once again. Is he going to think about firing down the inside into turn 4? He's going to have to go the long way around if he's going to get it done. Kingan defends the inside, but that means he's going to go deep, and Yuri should sweep round. He now has the inside line for turn 3, turn 5, 6 and 7. Kingan, very nice defending from the Swede, but Yuri still has the advantage here because Kingen is driving offline almost every single corner, but he's put himself in all the right places. Yuri just tags the rear end there and just loses the back end of his car as he got on the power, but this is good defensive driving from Kingen. This isn't anything over what's allowed. But well, if you are Yuri, it means all you've done there is lose an absolute heap of time to Quinn and Michel leading the way. So Kingen clearly out fighting his own battle. He of course is in the chase and wants to get as many points as possible, so he doesn't even need to think about what's going on with the likes of Yuri, Quinn and Michel, because of course they are in the playoffs. They're in almost a completely separate standings order. So if I was Kingen, I'd kind of be doing the same thing. I'd be making it as hard for those around. I don't care if I hold them up. It means nothing to me, because if you see now, Yuri completely out of his usage of battery. As you can see, both cars flashing LEDs as they've utilised all well within the final couple percentage points of battery usage. Yuri now on the defence as behind we see a penalty flash up for the driver in P5. DRS open for a pair of them as they're still closing on Kingen. However, that gap now out to 1 second, so Yuri's going to have to reset here. I think he's got a little bit flustered after everything that's just happened with Kingen over the last lap or so. He just needs to get back in the groove, back in the zone, save a little bit of battery. Even if you lose a position here, you just need to get back and get in the slipstream. Stop worrying about what's happening in front behind you. Stop focusing what's happening in front of you. And you can see now he's back down to 0.6 of a second. As we'll go and tune in and see what's happening down with Rico's closed it in on Matt Shepherd. So Matt Shepherd in P9 is now got the Dutchman of Rico on his gearbox. As you can see, Rico making his way around as they get into turn 11 at the braking zone, and Matt Shepherd's going to go for a ride on every. I mean, this is almost like a game of tag 'em where he's just trying to make sure he picks up every single curb ride he can. It's almost like when you played the old Tony Hawk's game, you play graffiti and you want to run over and ride every single jump, and Matt Shepherd seemingly wanting to get over on every single red and white painted curb. And all it's doing is losing him time. As into the box will come Matt Shepherd, so he'll come off of these tyres. He's done 11 laps on them, so it's a solid stint. Will he go on to another set of mediums, or is it going to be a set of hard tyres? It'll be interesting to see as Rico keeps on going, now promoted up to P9. So Yuri now on the back of Kingen once again. So as I said, he's just reset. Has he saved up a bit of battery? Yeah. Back up to around 20%. Not too much to go attack with here. Because if you're Kingen, you can just keep doing what you were doing before and just make it as awkward as possible. But he has made a slight mistake there into 10 as he got on the curb, unsettled the rear end of the car, which meant he had to turn in the car later than he wanted to. But Yuri unable to capitalise. And out there, these three, third, fourth and fifth, they've got a healthy gap back to Newgarden, 6.2 seconds behind, who's got Thomas Nevitt, who's having a solid run. P7 for Thomas. He's made that stop as well, and he picked up the first stage point. The gap at that at the front is 3.4 seconds. Michel, unless he makes an absolute calamity of an error now, is going to win this one by a country mile, unless we see a safety car. But as I said, quite hard to bring safety cars out here. You do see spins. The only time I'm expecting to potentially see a car in the will be on the exit of turn 12, potentially seeing a car lose it, as we've seen out onto the runoff area, and that's going to give Yuri a little bit of a breather, and means he can focus on Kingen for the next lap or so. Still staying within DRS these three. But almost up to 4 seconds is your leader's gap, and the field spread is, of course, fantastic, and we're a big fan of this. Big fan of 3 cars within a DRS, and then 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. In a circuit with 3 DRS zones. How? Anyway, 12 of 29. You're all great drivers. I love you all. I do. I love doing this. It's great fun. You just have to put up with me. Which I imagine, to be fair, my wife is probably exactly the same. Basically, just puts up with me. So, let us know in the comments if you're still watching along. Depending on if you're racing, you're riding, you're engineering, you're just watching this out of sheer enjoyment as Matt Shepherd's gone for a ride again on the exit of turn 6. Who's going to win this one? Where do you see this one going? Is it going to be Michel running to the flag with, well, basically no real threat? 4.3 seconds is now the gap. Of course, make sure you, as Matt Roseman defending fresh air behind from Thomas Nevitt. It's Thomas Nevitt 1.4 seconds behind. It's Matt Roseman's trying to break the toe for a car that's not in the toe. But it's not like Gran Turismo, where apparently you can pick up a toe from about 4.5 miles back. But Matt Roseman, yeah, warm up the tyres, Matt. Why not? As Jacko 3 seconds back as well. He's having a bit of a nothing race. As Jacko's got caught with that quali ban, started at the back, and he's only found his way up to 8th position. I love it here. This is one of my favourite circuits. I mean, this probably is my favourite circuit to drive on, and I will not take any slander of anyone saying they don't enjoy racing around here. It's such an enjoyable. This is the only, I think, one of the only Herman Tilke circuits that I'm a big fan of. Of course, when it was the first ever Middle Eastern based circuit. Now we've got a million of them. I mean, that was definitely a lag spike, but if not, that was very aggressive weaving there from Matt Roseman, trying to get some tyre temps. Sky says you can spin turn 2. No, you can't. I mean, you can, but in general, no, you can't. Thomas Nevitt now within DRS of Newgarden. So clearly doing something right. Of course, he's done 4 laps on those mediums. So he has got a tyre advantage here. So Thomas Nevitt is actually completely off strategy compared to everyone else, as the stage point will go to Michel if he crosses the line at the end of this lap 7 and 14 were the stage points. So one will go to Thomas, one will go to Michel. Will we see Michel then come on for a set of hard tyres? Matt Roseman's going very defensive. And I'm not quite sure you need to just yet. Thomas isn't quite close enough to utilise a massive slipstream down there, but he is within DRS, so worth trying to break the toe, I guess. But Thomas just needs to do his thing here, because Rico has gone around. No, he hasn't. Oh no. Anyway, Kingan P4, Speed Racer P3, Quinn P2, and Michel Goris P1. So these 4 can now get on with their own race. Newgarden has now got someone to chase. Thomas Nevitt, his eyes are going to be lighting up at this. Don't be too hasty. Oh, jeez. Don't force it. You're having a good race. Don't force it. Don't force it. Thomas. Alright, he gets the move done. I would have waited until the straight to line him up, but sure, why not? Because all you're going to do now is give Matt Roseman DRS, and although he's got no battery to attack with, it does mean that he can now close back in, because Thomas Nevitt's used all of his battery on that attack. So Matt Roseman and Jacko now trying to get involved in this one as well. So Jacko is probably trying to sniff a couple of points. It's probably the only thing he's going to be sniffing, apart from dirty underwear. But Newgarden and Thomas Nevitt now closing in on P5. Kingan has been passed by Yuri finally. So Yuri has cleared Kingan after 15 laps. And he can now look at the back of Quinn. So Quinn's gap 2.2 seconds. So is Quinn doing a little bit of tyre saving here? Because he hasn't pulled out the gap that we thought he might do as soon as he'd broken the toe. Be interesting to see what these tyres do. Of course, 9 laps of Quinn, 11 laps of Yuri, who pitted the first out of everyone. Very shortly followed by Newgarden. But Yuri, some decent pace. He's now dropped 0.6 of a second there, however, so not helpful. So Kingan will be looking and eyeing the back, and don't cut that corner there, you'll find yourself getting in trouble with the stewards. Not the real ones, the in-game ones, the inconsistent ones, not the totally legit ones of Ben Shaw and Jacko and Mr. Michael Okeke. Into the box comes Michel Gorius. Stage point went to him. Quinn's in as well. Yuri stays out, so he's running a long second stint. So does Kingen stays out? Yes, Kingen stays out because he's going on the offence and trying to go side by side with Mr. Haslager as they're going to go up the hill. Get on the power. It is Kingen. He's going to have DRS. He's got no battery to it. And I mean, they're both just two toddlers swinging at each other now. Down the inside goes Kingen. Surely there's going to be contact. There is a little bit of side panel bang in between the pair of them. Kingan's going to take the wider line to turn in. Yuri's going to try and stick it around the outside and do exactly what Kingen did to him. There's more contact between the pair. Kingen goes off the line. He's going to go down the inside. This is a nice little battle between the pair of them. He does get the position. Yuri's going to try and go for the cutback. Kingen gets off the throttle and doesn't let it happen. Harry Collier picks up 5 seconds, speeding into the pit lane. Once again, a nice little back and forth between the pair of them. This is a battle that we've seen happen over the last few seasons. Of course, Kingen, a former race winner, I want to say. Pretty sure he's a race winner. And, well, you've got plenty of time to continue this battle. 16 of 29 done. Expecting to see these guys coming in for their stops in the next lap or two. Last time we were here, Season 3, Round 5, it was Leroy that took the win ahead of Vitinho and Camo Babbo. Season 2, Round 11, Jake Warrior ahead of myself by around about a tenth of a second, and Yuri in P3. And the Championship 5 of Round 1, SD Mats, X-Scott 13, Shaw, and Jack G 2207. Equally, why not? Who cares? Who cares? It wasn't involving me. Yuri's in, he makes his stop, Kingen stays out. He's got no battery, so he can't even push on this lap, on his in lap. So Thomas Nevitt now up. Matt Shepherd's day is just... Oh, he's brought out a safety car. Well, that was interesting. Oh my god. Right, so safety car comes out on lap 16 of 29. For no reason apart from Matt Shepherd had half spun it. I'm pretty sure he's got no wing. There we go. So it must be for Debris. So he'll be in. Matt Shepherd does bring out a safety car eventually after his 17th spin so far. He's going to get it slowed down for the pit lane, and he's going to get a new front wing on. No stops under the safety car, unlike the Cup Series where the anti-Jake and Speed Iceman and Speed Gareth 89 and J-Luke rules brought in. It is no pit stops under the safety car. So Kingen and Thomas Nevitt, that is going to really, really hurt them. So that's a real shame for them, as we've got another penalty flashing up there. Disaster. So yeah, I mean, I'd be gutted. This is actually really, really gutting for Thomas Nevitt, who was having a really solid race. So this is going to bunch the pack up. And of course, with a third of the race left to go, he still needs to make another stop. And behind him, Michel, Quinn, Yuri, the likes of Jacko, Newgarden have all made theirs. Thomas and Kingen, who's making a non-mandatory. So he's going to run mediums until the last few laps and come and strap a set of softs on. So he's going to lose a couple of positions here because he's going to drop down behind. Oh, he might even drop down. Is he going to drop down behind Yuri? He's going to no. He's going to stay out in front of Yuri. In fact, he's going to go side by side with Quinn, who gets the run. It looks as though it was Kingen that just lost out in that battle. There was the line at the end of the pit lane, and once it gets crossed, there's no changing of position. So Quinn does get effective P2. Kingen gets P3, Yuri P4, then Jacko P5, when Thomas Nevitt, of course, will make his stop. But he will be the guy leading the restart, and showing that when he does actually not just self-deprecate and tell us how bad he is and how much he doesn't practice, that he can be semi-competitive. And it's all about not making mistakes. And this is so far a mistake-free race. Nothing you can legislate with safety cars coming out. As into the box comes Bazza. He straps on a set of medium tyres, so a non-mandatory for Bazza. Matt Shepherd is in for another stop. He put the hards on. He's now going to go on to a set of softs. They won't last to the end, my friend, so that will just make you quick off the restart. But, well, what's there to lose? Because you're going to have to make another stop after this anyway. The man that brought out the safety car now onto a set of softs. But look where that safety car is. Matt Shepherd is now, what, almost 75% of a lap behind. It might even be closer to 80 or 85, isn't it? Because he's just exiting turn 1 as the guys get to turn 14 and 15. But, well, Matt Shepherd, a lot of work to do. Thomas Nevitt, he'll have some work to do. What this does mean for Thomas, though, is that he can stretch these tyres out for a few more laps after the safety car and go onto a set of soft tyres to finish the race with. They will be hurting by the end of the race, but it means he can run the soft, medium, soft strategy, which is a very aggressive strategy. No one else has gone for that one, I don't believe. This does, of course, bunch everyone back up. So, Michel Goris, who was comfortably leading this one by around about 5 seconds, has now got Danny Quinn behind. DRS will not be activated until 3 laps after the safety car, 2 laps after the end of the safety car. And so Quinn, Kingan, Yuri are going to have to go right on the attack against Michel. It might even be worth a little bit of a send into the first corner and just to unsettle the Dutchman, try and stop this man from winning a 3rd race in a row. Of course, 1 in Brazil, 1 in Austria. Can he make it 3 in a row here in Bahrain? And I'm just going to quickly check the chat for you all, as no, you're all pretty quiet. Can't hear anyone complaining about anything. As Leroy said there was 5 safety cars in his. Was there? I mean, to be fair, that would be pretty standard. I'm shocked we've only had 1 here tonight. Apparently, I was chastised for saying that I was complaining that we don't have enough safety cars and that we do have enough safety cars. It depends on the. If we're at Singapore and it's a race that goes on already for an hour and there's seemingly endless safety cars, then yes, I did want to end myself at the end of that race. But it is good to see a safety car or two just to mix it up. We could just do with Thomas Nevitt restarting is the little bit of the cork in the bottle here. This is going to be an interesting restart. Matt Shepherd is still trying to catch up to the back of these guys. Right, there we go. I'm just making sure Matt isn't burning ERS to catch up to the back of them. But what he will be doing is using all the best bits of this tyre to try and cruise up. He's got enough time. These cars will be out for another lap, and so. Safety car stays out for 1 more lap, so we will be getting going again on lap 21. So at the start of 21, and everyone else moving around, trying to retain some temperature in those tyres as Thomas Nevitt makes his way through turn 1, getting very close to the back end of the safety car. The nicest sounding car in this game. Yep. There's no comeback to that, because the T-cam sound of these cars is awful. It doesn't sound anything like what we hear. I think it's the frustrating thing is if you saw like F1 Manager, is they actually managed to engineer the sound properly, and not even just like the voices but just the sounds of the engines, of the more of a turbo whine and the sound of the upshifts and the downshifts. It just sounds so much better, and I don't know how a team that have got so much more resource have not been able to get the sound engineers to perhaps tweak these to make them sound a little bit more realistic. But safety car will be in at the end of this lap. Thomas Levitt will be leading away. 11 laps on the medium, so he is very much at the end of the tyre life in those mediums. So the guys behind are going to have to watch out, because Thomas will have slightly different braking points, especially down into the likes of turn 1 and turn 3, as they will with much pressure. You can see the shine still on the outside of Michel's. If we go on board of him, you can see the shine on the outside of the tyre. If we compare that to Thomas Levitt, you can see there is no shine there at all. So the grip level will be fading quickly for the Scotsman. And, well, safety car is in. So Thomas now becomes the effective race leader, and he becomes the safety car. He can restart any time after the DRS line. So he's going to exit the final corner, and it's all about nailing this restart. Don't get on the gun too early, and make sure you settle it down. And any time from this line here, and we'll get this one restarted. And there's the restart. Michel goes with him. Danny Quinn's had a good restart as well. Behind, Yuri's got past Quinn, so Yuri's got on the offensive very, very early. Thomas Levitt's going to try and go defensive, but down the inside goes Danny Quinn, trying to get the move on Michel. Gets a little bit of a tag from both Yuri and from Kingan, as Michel and Danny off onto the gravel as the two tag, and that is opening the door. Of course it's opening the door for Yuri Hasselager. King in P2. Jacko is somehow up now into P5. I'm just saying P1 and P2 because of course Thomas Levitt is due to make a stop probably the end of this lap, but Kingan doesn't have to fret too much because he's still got the pace to close in and fight with Yuri. As this is now wide open again. Quinn down P7, Michel Goris P11. I'm expecting to see that gap change as Michel will go pretty much straight onto the offensive as Matt Shepherd, even after all the calamities he's had tonight, is back up to P8 on those soft tyres. But of course he's going to have to make another stop again as he's cleared Rico's. Leslie gets up past Robin Borders, Jess down to P14, Harry Collier P15. So does everyone make the restart lap here as they make their way around the third sector? And it looks as though everyone is pretty clean. Yuri now up within striking range of Thomas. So this is going to be for the effective race lead. No, Thomas stays out, so he's not trusting that the soft tyres will work until the end from here. So this is Yuri can just wait here. He doesn't need to burn too much battery because he knows that Thomas will be pitting eventually. Thomas is going to miss the apex there by a little bit, and that's going to compromise him through the next two corners, because you can see that car not wanting to point in a straight line, and Yuri can now just sit here, use the slipstream. He's got a gap to Kingan behind. Kingan 0.8 of a second back, so not too much of a threat just yet. But Yuri's going to want to catch and pass Thomas. Probably, well, by the end of this lap, he's going to want to get this one done. I'd imagine Thomas is in. Jess has gone for a spin. She is out on the what is meant to be sand. But Yuri still trying to close in, and we'll go on board with the Dutchman as we've got another penalty. Yep. So Yuri with the penalty. Yuri not with a penalty. He is sitting there nice and clean. I say that. Hopefully he picks one up and we get to see a new winner this season. It'd be good to see a King and win, and then perhaps even a Newgarden win. Could we ever see a Jacko win? One that was, he's almost like me. He doesn't get deserved wins. He got that disgusting one as Matt Shepherd. Oh, there we go. So after getting all those positions back, he's now been slapped with a time penalty. As Thomas Levitt really needs to think about boxing. He's missing apex after apex after apex, and in he comes. So that frees up Yuri. Thomas Levitt's going to drop to the back, but he will have a brand new set of soft tyres. But he will be very much at the back of this one. Michel on the attack with the fastest lap of the race. He's cleared both Rico and Bazza as Matt Shepherd and Matt Roseman battle down into turn one, and Matt Shepherd gets up past his fellow Matriot. There you go. Quinn is recovered to P5. Jacko is now in his sight, so don't count these guys out just yet. Lap 23 of 29, we can still see plenty of shenanigans. And Danny Quinn of Red Dragon Racing, that well-known established esports team, in P5. Jacko of no fixed esports team address tends to float between all of them. Pretends like he's part of one of them. Not wanted by any of them. And then we got Kingen, who just does this thing out on circuit, and he's now got back within DRS of Yuri. So Yuri, well, this is an interesting one for Yuri. He doesn't have to win the race. He's already advanced to the Championship 5. That's how far ahead he is. So he could roll over and play ball for the likes of Kingen and give Kingen some points. So, well, it's going to be a battle of the battle of nerve here, because Kingen is on the attack. He's got 25% battery. He's going to go down the inside. Will he be able to hold it back? Because Yuri's going to think about the switchback surely down through the next complex of corners. And with the DRS, however, Kingen should be able to retain the position, and he does. Defends the inside line. Doesn't need to because he had the DRS. And for now, he has the effective race lead. Thomas Nevitt with dropped down to 13th position. Rageman gets the fastest lap of 31.886, but Thomas Nevitt down to 13th. So a really unfortunate one there for Thomas, who looked as though he had solid pace for at least a top 5, top 6 result. He is going to struggle to close in those 6.5 seconds just to catch up to the back of Jess at this rate, as Rico and Bazza trade positions for 9th and 10th position. In fact, let's tune in with that one. These guys are all doing their own thing. There's Bazza now behind Rico, and equally Michel on the back of we've got Lesty, who's gone for a spin. Has he got it restarted? I think he has. Yes, he has got it recovered. You can see the movement on the mini-map. Now, do we see here, Michel has already qualified for the Championship 5. Matt Rosemond in front of him is in the chase, but with Matt Shepherd ahead, of course, he's not picking up the points, but Matt Shepherd boxes as he needs to. Of course, he needed to make his second stop, so Matt Shepherd gets out of the way. So this is solid points for Newgarden, because ahead of him he's only got, well, he's got this man leading the race. So there's not much that Matt Roseman can do about Kingen, so he's kind of got Yuri to be his attack dog in this case. So what do we see from the likes of Michel in this? Does he just sit behind and do his thing as Rageman gets another fastest lap, as he's doing very nicely, but he's down in P14. But yeah, Michel, if I were him, I would try and clear Matt Rosemond and drag the oh, there's definitely some desync lag in there somewhere. Oh, that's horrible to look at. As oh, Michel gets on the curb as well. That's not going to help. If I was Michel, I'd clear Matt Rosemond and, well, effectively put him in your slipstream and drag him up to Quinn. It's 2.3 seconds. If you can drag him to within around 1.5 and take 0.8 of a second off, then you get him into a potential range of an attack later on in the race. But lap 25 of 29, and Kingen leads this one by 0.4 of a second to Yuri. Yuri, however, not giving up a potential race win. He's got 50% battery. Kingen is completely out, and in fact Kingen has to make a stop. Oh, I didn't think he had to make a second stop. He did. Oh, of course he did. He made one under the safety car. So, oh, completely forgot that. That's a shame. So, that means Yuri's going to win. There's Jacko's in P2 as well. Quinn is now in P4. Newgarden and Michel, Bazza, Rico, Harry Collier has got back up to P9 with all the pitters that we've had in the last few laps. Of course, Kingen, Thomas Nevitt is now up to P11. What's that gap between himself now? So he's taken 3 seconds out of Jess. So maybe he'll be able to catch her by the end of the race. Of course, her tyres and his tyres will both be off by the end of this one. But, well, yellow for Rageman. Yes, it is. Who's going to flat spin? Who's going to get stuck in the gravel? I'm just checking. If you do something silly to try and bring out a safety car, do it. Go on, do it, do it. That would make it interesting. But no, we'll go back to the front as let's see P15. Yuri leading by 2.8 seconds with Jacko back. And I thought Jacko was having a crap race, and he's somehow fluked his way up into P2. Quinn back in P4. Newgarden. Michel is now on the back of him. He has a lot more energy. Matt, let him go. Let him go. You might as well use him to go on and attack Quinn. You've got no battery left whatsoever as he's been trying to go on the offensive. Michel's going to come in and strap a set of softs on and try and go for the fastest lap. He might as well. He's got a stage point, and of course he is already advanced, so you might as well just add to that. That's going to promote Bazza and Rico up, who are side by side again. These two fighting away seemingly across the entire race. Rico's going to try and get the cut back. God, what engine oil is he using, Rico? You're pretty much part of him. He's going to try and get the move done. Surely there's going to be contact between the pair of them. One of them's going to wash out wide. There we go. There's the contact. I don't know how they got away with that one, because usually that's at least one person pointing the wrong direction, as Rico holds P7 and Bazza retains P6. Bazza misses the apex by, by another 3 apexes. And this time that's a bit better from Bazza. He's going to straighten up the car in time, and he should get a slightly better launch. Let's see that gap between himself and Rico. So he makes up around about half a tenth of a second over his Dutch rival back in P7. Harry Collier with that penalty in P8. Jess, of course, eliminated from the playoffs after missing last week. Her and Jamie Bromley, who had to drop out of the playoffs. The first two to be eliminated. So she's out there just vibing. Thomas Nevitt has now caught up to her, so it's 0.4 of a second. So he's not out of the realms of possibility of moving ahead of the likes of Harry Collier on penalties. And Jacko's been passed, so he's dropped down, but he's now passing again. So he goes back down the inside. Will we see a trader position once again? He's got a little bit of battery to play with here. And, I mean, this is a great lobby. As Jacko looked as though he was about to take a dive into Romain Grosjean's barrier, but making his way through the exit of the first sector and into the second sector is Jacko. They've now got Quinn trying to close in on the pair of them as this battle is going to continue. We're on the penultimate lap of the race here, the JACKOCAR round 11 Bahrain Grand Prix. Outside, unable to cut back to the inside just yet, but DRS will be available. Is this the move? Jacko's going to try and defend, move over and squeeze. Yep. Oh, he lets him go. Far too placid, but it does mean, of course, that he will be able to go back on the attack once again at the end of the lap. Just needs to stay within enough range as there's another one. Be lucky to get points, so Jacko can just sit here and continue to do his thing, because we're going on to the last lap of the race with guess who leading, and here comes the overtake. Up into P2 goes Jacko. Quinn 1.7 seconds back as well, so he'll end up finishing on the podium. Newgarden hasn't been able to close up. Bazza's going to get some solid points in P6, but of course he's got some penalties, so he will drop behind Rico. Rico's still within that 1 second window. The pair of them still fighting away. Jacko defending, but there's almost no point at the moment, because the person behind you has got just about a lap's worth of penalties. Michel does get that fastest lap of the race, so P13 and a fastest lap will be not the greatest of consolations. He won't be particularly happy with Quinn after that restart. Of course, that's potentially cost him the race win. But, well, oh, it's him again, isn't it? He'll think that he's the fastest member in team speed after this. He's not. It's me. It's always me. But a few more corners left to go for Yuri to bring back this. I can't work out if I like this livery or not yet. I've been thinking about it. I don't like the red front wing. I think that's what I don't like of it. I think the rest is really nice, but I don't like that red front wing. Oh, he's already celebrating. Oh, that's disgusting. Yellow flag for Rage Man. I hope you run out of fuel before the line. Do not let him win. Do not let him win. Yuri wins. Jacko P2. Quinn's going to get P3. Newgarden's going to get 4. Bazza's going to get 5. Rico's probably going to get 6. Kingan might even get 7. Oh, almost. Harry Collier's going to get a couple of points. But Thomas Nevitt does come home in P9. So I'm sure he'll be relatively pleased with that. It's not the worst for Thomas Nevitt. It is probably one of his better results of the season. But if that safety car hadn't come out, he would have been in a prime position to be fighting probably in the likes of Newgarden and Rico area. But Jess P10, Michel does get the fastest lap and P11. Matt Shepherd ends what has been a woeful race for him. Harry Collier is finished as well. Leslie finishes, and Rageman, the man leading the chase, no longer. Well, what did we think of that one? Let us know. As Thomas says he's pissed off. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you win some, you lose some with the safety car. As I well know. But well, it's good old Yuri that wins the race once again. Snap padding his way through Kia. There's those lifeless eyes of all those adoring, nondescript team personnel watch over him, and then all the random assortment of arms that have been attached to yellow and grey shirts. Oh no, don't spray me. Oh no, Yuri. Oh no. Oh, you're such a joker. But he takes the win. Jacko from 14th to 2nd is the people's champion. Quinn in P3, Newgarden P4, Rico P5, Bazza P6, Kingan P8, Thomas Nevitt P9, Jess P10, Michelle Goris P11, Matt Shepherd P12, Harry Collier P13, Leslie P14, and Rageman rounding it out in P15. Well, driver of the day. Do you know, this is one where you could probably give it to a number of people. We'll go for 3. Actually, we'll go for 4 tonight, I think. We'll go for 4. We'll spoil you, because I know you all don't like it when I get... to be fair, when I've given it to 3, we've been lucky to give it to 3 at some points. It could have been 1 or 2. But we will go for Yuri, we'll go for Jacko, we'll go for Rico, and we'll go for Thomas Nevitt. Because I think all 4 of them had a really good evening. Jacko making up some solid positions. Thomas Nevitt with his best showing of the season. Rico equally very competitive tonight, having a fantastic battle with Bazza. Yuri, of course, for stat padding, and you can vote for that, which will be going up probably in the next half an hour or so up on the JACKOCAR 2 Twitter page. So go to @JACKOCAR 2 on Twitter, where you'll be able to vote on that. It'll be live until around about 11 PM, and give an ego boost to someone. So we will find out who wins that one a little bit later on. It will be posted to the socials. But thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. Apologies for the lack of audio at the start of the race, and various other bits where I was mid coughing fit, or either ripping my microphone out of its jack in the PlayStation, because I'm a consummate professional. As usual. Never mind. We might even have Owen back next week. Don't count on it. But what we will have next week is a race. So you will be able to join us for that. Come back on Thursday. I promise it will get better. Where we will have another race. But this time we'll go up to Cup. So we'll go up to the fastest tier in the league. And we go to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. And having been knocked out myself last week in disgusting circumstances after being taken out by Jamie Numbers, I am back for revenge. I'm going to be back taking what's rightfully mine, and that's another win at Monza. As I just double checked to make sure it is Monza. It is, because after that we go to the Super Speedway, which will be absolutely bloody fantastic. And the Championship 5 at Silverstone. The filming day is this weekend, so if you do watch, make sure you check out Jacko's message in your Twitter chat. If you can help out monetarily towards what is going to be quite an expensive day out, make sure you do, even if it's a fiver or so. It really does help out. There is a lot going into this one, whether it be filming, whether it be the costs for the studio that we're in, and of course various other things that we will be ordering and sorting out for you, and of course the likes of Ben Shaw for his time. For well, we're not paying him, but we'll give him the idea that he's going to get a I don't know, a 2-piece suite, or I don't know, a Freddo or something like that in recompense for it. But yeah, a lot of effort goes into Championship 5 for not only Cup but for Kia as well. So if you can give anything just to help Jacko out, then make sure you do. But make sure you do join us on Thursday for the Italian Grand Prix in the Cup Series. If not, then Kia will be back next Tuesday. I might be, we'll find out, but it will be Silverstone. There you are, I thought it was Silverstone. So Silverstone next week for round 12 and the final elimination race before the Championship 5 in Australia. So only just 2 races left to go. 2 more times you have to put up with my voice on this game, and we'll see by popular demand if we get a return on F1 23. But thanks very much for joining us. Once again, apologies for a couple of breakups in the audio, but that's what you get from Kia. And hopefully you don't get it on Thursday with Cup. But we hope to see you then. If not, we'll see you next week. Good night.